It started like any other long drive. I wasn't running away, not really, but I wasn't headed anywhere either. Sometimes the road feels like the only place that makes sense. No deadlines, no expectations, just miles of open sky and the hum of the tires beneath me. The desert stretched out endlessly, a vast sea of sand and heat waves. I'd been on the road for almost 7 hours, eyelids heavy, the steering wheel slick from my sweat. I told myself I'd pull over at the next sign of life. I didn't care what it was, gas station, diner, or even an abandoned rest stop. Then I saw it, a worn-out sign sticking out of the sand like a crooked tooth. Desert View Motel. Vacancy. The letters blinked erratically, like the sign was fighting to stay alive. Something about it felt wrong, out of place. It didn't match the desert landscape. The building was small, square, and sun-bleached, like it had been plucked from a 1960s postcard and dropped into the middle of nowhere. But I was exhausted. Logic was fading. So I pulled in. The parking lot was empty. A single light buzzed overhead. I stepped inside the lobby and found a man sitting behind the front desk. He looked up, and I swear, it was like looking into the eyes of someone who hadn't slept in decades. "Room 6, he said before I could speak. "Already prepared." Already prepared? I should have turned and left. But something kept me rooted. Maybe curiosity. Maybe something else. I took the key. Room 6 looked, lived in. You expect dust in a place like this. You expect stale air and creaky floorboards. But this room, it was used. Not recently cleaned and not recently abandoned. Somewhere disturbingly in between. There was a half-drunk bottle of water on the nightstand. The bed was made, but just slightly rumpled, as if someone had sat on it 5 minutes ago. The TV remote had greasy fingerprints. In the closet, I found a jacket, my size. The bathroom had a toothbrush, used, damp. I stepped back, heart racing, and checked the mini fridge. Inside was a slice of cake in a plastic container. The label on it, "Happy Birthday A." My name starts with A. I laughed nervously. Maybe it was a mistake. They'd given me someone else's room. That had to be it. I opened the door to ask for a different key, but the hallway was gone. Instead of the corridor I walked through moments ago, there was now only desert. Pitch black, silent, infinite desert. I shut the door fast. What was happening? I turned and noticed something I hadn't before. A leather-bound journal lying on the nightstand. No title, just waiting. Against my better judgment, I opened it and froze. The first page read, "He enters the room and notices something strange." The second, he checks the fridge and finds the cake. The third, he opens the journal and begins to panic. And then, as I held it, new words began to appear, written in black ink before my eyes. He backs away slowly, breath catching in his throat. And that's exactly what I did. The journal shouldn't have known any of that, but it did. I tried to convince myself it was a prank, maybe a hidden camera setup. Maybe the motel was part of a weird reality show. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. I searched the room again, top to bottom. In the drawers, I found postcards, all of them addressed to different people. From me. "Wish you were here. Desert View is peaceful." Each one had a different date. Some from last year, some from 1982, one from 1955. My handwriting on every single one. In the closet under the floorboard, I found a stack of journals, all like the one on my nightstand, and in every one, my name. I flipped through a random one. Day 3. He begins to forget who he was. Day 6. He believes this room is his home. Was this happening to someone else? Or had this happened to me over and over again? I stared at myself in the bathroom mirror. My face was pale, eyes bloodshot, lips dry. Etched faintly into the bottom corner of the mirror, barely visible, was a name, mine. Right beneath it, scratched into the glass like it had been done in a hurry. "Stay." I stumbled back, heart pounding. Every part of the room screamed at me to remember. But remember what? That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat in the armchair, journal in my lap, every muscle tense. I had to know what would happen next, what the journal would say. Then came the knock. Software deliberate, 3 times. I didn't move. I waited. Another knock. I looked down at the journal. It had flipped open to a blank page, and a new line was forming in real time. He opens the door against his better judgment. I didn't want to. God, I didn't want to. But I stood up. My hand reached for the doorknob as if pulled by invisible strings. I opened the door. Nothing. Just the desert night. Silent. Windless. Empty. Until I looked out to the far end of the parking lot. A figure stood there, still, shadowed, watching me. My throat tightened. I stepped out slowly. The closer I got, the clearer the figure became. Tall, still, familiar. Then, as the flickering light overhead revealed his face, I stopped dead in my tracks. It was me. Same face, same clothes, same tired eyes. It didn't move, it didn't speak, it just stared. And then slowly, it smiled. I ran back into the room, slammed the door, locked it. The journal flipped again. He cannot run from what he is. I collapsed onto the bed, breathing hard. My mind was unraveling. I had to get out. I had to find an exit. Any exit. That's when I noticed something under the nightstand. A loose floorboard. I pried it up with my keys and found another journal. Older than the others, thicker. The pages yellowed. This one was different. It wasn't written by me. Not at first. The writer described the same events. The road trip, the motel, the journal, even the figure in the parking lot. The last few entries chilled me to the bone. Day 10. I think I know what this place is. It's not a motel. It's a loop, a trap, a story told over and over. Day 11. The figure is me. Or at least, it used to be. Day 12. Soon I will forget who I was. Then the motel will take me. Then a final page. A signature. My name, written by a hand that wasn't mine. I stared at it for what felt like hours. Everything clicked into place. The photo in the drawer. The etched mirror. The receptionist's familiar eyes. I wasn't the visitor. I was the story. The truth settled on me like a fog. I wasn't trapped in the motel. I was the motel. Or rather, the motel was me. My memories, my regrets, my failures, looping endlessly in this cursed place, playing out like a story on repeat. Each visitor isn't a visitor. They're a past version of me, trying to wake up, trying to break free. But none of them do. They forget, just like I had, until now. The journal is the only record, the only clue, and I knew what I had to do. I tried to burn it. I doused it in whiskey from the minibar, lit a match. The fire caught, then fizzled out. The book was untouched, as if it refused to be erased. On the final page, a new line appeared. He writes this all down, hoping someone will finally read it. So that's what I'm doing, writing it down. If you're hearing this, if this story reached you, please, don't stop at the Desert View Motel. Even if you're tired, even if the sign flickers, because once you walk through that door, you're already part of the story. We were just trying to get away. From the noise, from the deadlines, from the weight of daily life. It was supposed to be a quick road trip. Me and Emily, 2 hours out from home, heading nowhere in particular. Windows down, music low, laughing about how we'd probably end up lost, just like always. The clouds, thick and bruised, were the only warning sign. The kind that don't roll in, they creep. Then the rain hit. Sheets of it. Blinding, relentless. We turned off the main road, following an old, cracked sign barely visible through the storm. Starlight Motel, vacancy. Sounded innocent enough. It sat there like a forgotten memory, a neon pink glow flickering against the black curtain of night. The parking lot was empty. A rusty bell above the front desk door announced our arrival, and an old man, silent, almost statue-like, handed us a key without a word. Just one room left, room 13. I should have known then. Nothing this cheap ever comes without a cost. The room was odd. Dim lighting, peeling wallpaper, and the sickly scent of damp carpet. But what really stood out were the mirrors. Not just over the sink, every wall had one. Tall, narrow, like warped funhouse glass. They seemed older than the rest of the room, each with their own faint discoloration, as if they'd held on to everything they'd ever seen. We tried to laugh it off. Emily joked about it being a vampire's dream room, but I noticed it first. Our reflections didn't quite move in sync. Blink a second too slow, turn a half second too late. We chalked it up to exhaustion, until we both saw them. Not us, not reflections. People. People we didn't recognize, inside the mirrors, looking back at us, faces twisted in silent screams, pounding against the glass. No sound, just desperate, pleading eyes. Then, just as fast, they vanished. We stood frozen, my chest tight, Emily whispering, "Did you see that?" But before either of us could process it, the clock struck midnight, and one of the mirrors went black. I couldn't sleep, not with that image in my head, not with the mirror gone dark. I started searching the room, behind the paintings, under the bed, even inside the old nightstand drawer. That's when I found it. A photo album, dusty and torn, filled with pictures of smiling couples standing outside the very same room. But the last photo, burnt at the edges, only half a face visible, and that same black mirror in the background. Date stamped, 1992. Emily found a torn note under the carpet, scribbled in shaking handwriting. "Don't trust the glass. Don't trust the man. At midnight, it begins." We went back to the front desk. The old man wasn't there. The lobby, empty, dust-covered. The computer, unplugged. No records, no phone line. We were alone, or maybe not. Back in the room, we stared at the remaining mirrors. 12:59 a.m. Emily clutched my hand. Then 1 a.m. Another mirror, dark. A woman's face we hadn't seen before was gone, and my reflection began to flicker. It got colder, freezing, like winter had pushed through the walls, and the light, buzzing, like it was about to explode. That's when the mirrors shifted, not cracked or shattered, melted. And from one of them, a hand pressed outward, stretching the glass like fabric. Pale, wet, shaking violently. It didn't come through, but its eyes did. Eyes locked onto mine. Eyes that looked like me. I stumbled back, heart hammering against my ribs. Emily was screaming. The mirrors were whispering. Not out loud, but inside our heads. Overlapping voices, gasping, "Help us. Don't leave. It takes the ones who see." We tried to leave. The door, jammed. Windows, bolted. Even the bathroom mirror, now filled with shadows that moved on their own. We were trapped. No signal. No escape. 2 a.m. Another mirror, gone. And now Emily's reflection started to fade. I held her, trying to ground her, but I saw it. Her reflection reaching out for me, not from behind her, but from inside the mirror, begging me to listen. Whispering, "You were always meant to come back." Back to what? We dug deeper, desperate. In the bathroom cabinet behind a false panel, we found a diary. Belonged to a woman named Sarah. Her final entry: "Room 13 takes the ones who forget. We lived here once. It wants us back." I didn't understand until I saw the faded Polaroid stuck inside. A little boy, 5, maybe 6, standing in front of the motel, holding hands with his parents, my parents, and me. I had been here before. The memories came flooding back. A forgotten stop when I was a child. My parents disappeared that night. The case unsolved. my therapy, my amnesia. It all made sense now. This wasn't chance. This motel wasn't random. It brought me back. Emily was barely conscious now. Her reflection, gone. I smashed one of the mirrors in rage. And behind it? A wall, hollow. I kicked through, revealing a room, a gallery of mirrors, filled with hundreds of trapped souls. Their eyes wide, mouths silent, all staring at me, including my parents. I reached out, touched the glass. "Help us," they mouthed, before midnight. The final mirror began to pulse. A choice. I could take Emily's place, give the room a new soul, and free them. But then I heard it. The old man's voice, cold, echoing. The glass remembers. The glass chooses. I never got to choose. The world went black. They found the motel the next morning. Room 13, abandoned. No signs of struggle, just 2 sets of footprints leading in, and one walking out alone. If you ever see a neon motel glowing pink on a stormy night, keep driving. Because some places don't want visitors, they want residents. And the mirrors, they're always watching.